Well, hi everyone, and welcome to another Wise Money Tools video or podcast, depending on how you connect with us. So it's summer, and one thing that if you've read anything in my books or know anything about me, one thing I love is the water, especially lakes. I'm a big water skier, been a competitive water skier for a few decades now. And one thing that this reminded me of as we were out at the lake, tooling around, having some fun, we pulled out the inner tube. Now, if you've ever been on an inner tube behind a boat, there's some things that you just got to know. One is you're going to be completely out of control. There's no way to steer or guide that tube. And the idea is to get out there and have some fun. And if you got little kids back there, you just kind of want them to bounce around and hit a few wakes and enjoy it. However, there's always those teenage and 20-somethings who still feel like they're invincible and there's no way you can knock them off that tube. Well, that is a direct competitive challenge for me as a boat driver. And there's nothing more fun than trying to get teenage kids off a tube. So back in the day when I first, when I was a teenager, 16, 17 years old, we'd pull out a tube. We'd just go down to the truck stop and get a big old massive black inner tube and tie it onto the back of the boat and drag each other around. Well, we're in this little monohull, 14-foot with a outboard motor that might push 65 or 85 horsepower. Just barely could get us out skiing, but hey, it was fun and we were able to ski. Anyway, we'd get behind the boat on this tube, and it was a real challenge for that boat to get any kind of centrifugal force on that tube. So basically, when you're back behind that tube and that boat turns sharply, it throws the tube out, right? And again, that boat just didn't have the turning radius nor the power to throw. So you could pretty much hang on and you could challenge the driver and be, tough stuff because he couldn't get you off that tube. Well, fast forward years later, when you've got these ski tournament boats, a Mastercraft Ski Nautique, and these boats are inboard and they're made to just turn on a dime. You can pretty much turn right back into your wake, going 30, 40 miles an hour and just whip that steering wheel and turn right back in the direction you were going. And they're just so stable. Now you put a tube back there, and with that kind of power, obviously not only in speed, but in the turning radius, you can throw a skier out there pretty easily and give him the ride of his life. If you're, nowadays with these big old massive boats and wakes that are up to your chest, these things can really toss a skier around. Anyway, I kind of think about this oftentimes like the market. So many times when people invest, they do it speculatively. They're not investing. So investing to me is understanding the investment, having a little analytical analysis on the numbers, the cash flow, the free cash flow, the debt, things of that nature, so that you understand what you're buying, why you're buying it, and if you're getting it at a good price. That's kind of investing. And whether that's a business or real estate or individual stocks, understanding the investment and knowing a little bit or a lot of it about the numbers is critical. However, how do most people invest? Well, they either walk into some financial advisor's office and toss him some money, and he buys you mutual funds and just kind of tosses seed in the wind and hope something will grow. Or you maybe have a 401k or some kind of retirement plan. And again, you just, every month you throw your money in, you pick 3 or 4 or 5 different mutual funds, and it's just throwing, again, caution to the wind. This is speculation. This is not investing. Because if I asked you, if you had a mutual fund, even just picking one fund, hey, do you know what the top 10 holdings are? And out of those top 10, do you have any idea what their cash flow or free cash flow is? Chances are pretty good you're not going to know the answers to that. So again, that's speculation. Well, investing would be more like getting on a ski. Okay, slalom ski is pretty stable once you learn how to ski. But here's the thing, it's not necessarily that easy. You have to get up, you have to practice a few times, but within a short period of time and with some practice, you can pretty much stay behind that boat. And if that boat wants to make a pretty sharp angled turn, you can stay right behind it fairly easily, knowing how to control that ski, okay? But on a tube, no way. So a tube is more like speculation. You jump on and you hope that you're not going to run into any kind of disaster via wake, speed, or wind, any of those things that can throw you off that tube. Because here's the thing, it's fun right up until the time you get thrown off that tube, and you can skip and get bruised. And I've even, sad to say, my daughter, when she was about 17 years old, her and her friend were back there riding, and I wasn't really trying to knock them off, but it was kind of a windy day, and there was some waves and some wakes coming at them, and they hit it just perfectly, and she flew up about 10 feet off the tube and came down and kind of broke her elbow. So there can be some pain involved when crashing on a tube. And that's how, again, I feel like speculation is. You have no way to control this thing. All you did was jump on this blown up inner tube, and you hope that the driver is going to be nice to you. But then, just like markets do, that tube can get thrown, wide, and worse, you can have wakes coming at you and wind coming at you and all kinds of, the bumps that are sent up from other boats and other wakes that are, miles from you sometimes. And it can get choppy and bumpy, and you can hit those things and fly. But it's funny because some people think they can control that tube by putting their ankle in the water, and they just kind of use it as a rudder. Well, that works for just about a second, because once that boat decides to get into a nice, quick, hard turn, that tube has really no choice but to just fly out. And again, this is how I feel the market is right now. Most people are on a tube. They have no idea which way the market's going to go. They have no idea if bumps are coming, and sooner or later they may get thrown off, and it could hurt. But those who are investing, again, kind of more like on a ski, who are under control, they know what they bought, they analyzed it, they have a pretty good idea of a predictable future. They know if this company has debt, they know if the company is increasing in earnings often. Maybe this is your own company. Maybe this is a piece of real estate. But those who are learning to invest have a little bit more control. Yeah, sure, that boat still might turn and make some gyrations and so forth. But as a guy on a ski with some control, you can stay behind the boat and stay relatively safe, even in some not so calm waters. That's where I want you to be. I want you to understand investing. I want you to be able to make your investments with some knowledge, with some predictability, and not just be out there hoping that the weather and the driver and everybody's going to be just nice to you, and you're going to sail along and just enjoy this little cruise on your tube. So I thought about this again as we were out riding in the lake the other day, and what people are facing. Again, we talked a little bit just last week or just a few days ago about the tariffs. Tariffs are causing some bumps in the water, and if you're on that tube, chances are you're going to feel those things. We don't know where that's going to end. That could throw you. I mean, there could be some disastrous results. We could see this market drop 3, 4, 5,000 points. Who knows? It just depends on how long this thing's going to go. So just be cautious. Understand that if you're not an investor, you're a speculator. And if you're a speculator, get ready to hang on, because sooner or later, those bumps and turns are going to be coming. Well, Well, that's it for this video. If you have any questions or thoughts, send them to questions@wisemoneytools.com. I'll try to answer them just as quick as I can. Don't forget to subscribe. Got a lot of good stuff that we hope we're going to be talking to you about over the next few weeks and months, and we love having you here, love hearing from you. Even sometimes if the comments aren't so sweet and beautiful, we still love hearing from you. Happy to answer them and get a conversation going with you. If at any time you ever want to have a strategy session, a quick call, talk about some of the things going on in your life and some of the strategies we use, happy to do that as well. Well, that's it. Talk to you next week. Take care.